Gentleman from California, Mr. LaMalfa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary, we appreciate your appearance here today. Thank you for your time with us here. And also for your diligence in what we've dealt with in Northern California with the fire season, with the car fire in Redding, California, which we thought was devastating, and then add to that the Camp Fire in Paradise, California on top of that. And your diligence of your office and our other partners in Interior and Homeland Security has been pretty amazing and appreciated. So as we know, 650,000 acres burned just in my first district of California this year. 93 lives have been lost in the two fires combined. That points out we need to dramatically change how we manage forests in California and the western states and across the country. Just in California, we have 130 million dead trees and counting across our 9 million acres in the state of forested lands. And we need to do treatment on it. We've got to do the kind of treatment that will help us to mitigate wildfire risk. You know, you don't eliminate wildfire risk because lightning happens and people happen too, but you can certainly make a forested situation much more manageable when a fire does occur, as we had many years ago when the inventory of trees per acre and brush, et cetera, was much lower and much different in a natural setting. We've been putting fires out for 100 years, and now, you know, we've got an overload of inventory of that material. So, needless to say, we had some really good provisions in the Farm Bill that passed the House on the forestry title. A lot of that was eliminated over on the Senate side. I'm glad we got the Farm Bill done. We did get some good pieces in there, but some really important leaps for all of us would have been there with the other parts in that title. So we did a lot of work on that, and then the work that was done in the omnibus previously that had forestry efforts in it really falls short of what we need to do. And it's very important to the assets that we're supposed to be stewards of in the USDA through the U.S. Forest Service, the forest asset, the habitat that it means, and the human lives that are affected. So we got to have strong management here. And at the rate we're going under previous regimes with basically 1% of our U.S. Forest Service land being touched per year, it'll take 100 years to get across and treat them, and we don't have 100 years for the hundreds of thousands of acres that burn in the West every year especially. So we've tried to ensure the Forest Service has every tool available on funding, on separating disaster funding from your main course of funding. But we need to be much more aggressive at this. So can you, Mr. Secretary, update me on how we're putting in place something that'll move at a greater speed than 1% a year nationally, or even maybe up to a 30-year period to cover California on the treatment we need on all of our acres to be better habitat, more fire safe, more healthy, and to boot an economy.
Thank you. I'll do my best. I think we are making progress in both policy, in authorities, and in funding. As you know, the fire funding fix doesn't begin until this next fiscal year. That's why I felt compelled to mention the $720 million that we had taken out of the kitty of operations to do exactly what you're asking to do in order to suppress fires coming up. We need that to refill so we can begin to do that. We have to prioritize. As you said, there's so much. What we're trying to do, what I've challenged the Fire Service to do, is to prioritize on those wildland urban interfaces that are the most threatening. Certainly, you saw it firsthand in your district in Paradise, how we need to focus first on those, but also we're so far behind the curve. We need those other categorical exclusions that you mentioned,
yes,
such as the dead trees there, and be able to remove them on a landscape scale rather than having to go one application after the other, which all of them are subject to NEPA and litigation, and that just slows the process down.
We have good work on the good neighbor policy, allowing local tribes and local governments and even neighboring private lands. I think we need a lot stronger help from the private sector on this to do it faster than what we are. Let me touch real quickly. Good work on getting rice into China. How's it going on Japan with the discussions and getting rice a little more strongly into that economy?
We don't know yet. Obviously, Ambassador Lighthizer will focus on Japan along with China over the understanding that the TPP implementations are coming and our producers will be at an extreme disadvantage there. He understands how important Japan is and is committed to me that he will move on that as quickly as able with them, and hopefully can get an agreement that's TPP or better very soon.